Welcome to Life Extension Live. I'm Dr. Mike, and of course that is
Dr. Crystal.
So, Dr. Crystal, today we're going to be talking about sleep apnea, which affects, I got it right here. You want to say it?
Say it.
30 million people in the United States.
And only around 6 million have been diagnosed.
Yeah. So wait, do we got to do math? 30 minus 6.
I'm not doing it. He's the math guy.
And you know what? You know what the answer is? A lot of people don't know they have it.
Yes.
Millions of people don't know they have it. So on today's show, we're going to be covering, what is sleep apnea? Is it really something you should be worried about? What are the risks? And how can maybe some nutrient add-ins help?
Yeah.
All right. So let's get right into what is sleep apnea. Now, the basic definition, I'm going with basic definition, okay, is you at night, you literally have periods of hypoxia. You're not breathing. I know, right? Sounds big. Hypoxia means low
Oxygen.
Yeah. So you're like just low oxygen, very little circulating because you're not doing this. You're doing this.
And then, wait. Do that. No, 10 seconds. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
And then you wake up explosive, finally gasping for air.
Right. Oh my gosh. When I didn't think the 10 seconds was that long until I started counting.
Yeah,
Dr.
especially
Mike.
for a show like this. Sorry about that. Yeah, so that, it's not really defined by the snore itself. It's defined by these hypoxic moments. And listen, in severe cases, some people might have hundreds of these moments in one night. And then you wake up and you wonder why you're so tired, because when you're having these hypoxic moments, you're like working out. Your body's struggling for the oxygen.
That's true. I never thought about it that way. Yes.
So you're like tired, of course you are. And it's just dangerous. Those kind of events, the hypoxic events, can lead to a lot of risk factors. Of course, we're going to get into those. Just in general, men, we're going to get worse than women.
And then older people. Worse than younger.
Than younger, for sure. But with that said, it can happen across the board, across ages.
Yes.
Okay. So I do want to briefly mention, because there gets a little confusion out there. We see this in Google land. What's the difference between obstructive sleep apnea and what's called central? Now, we're not going to dive into this, Dr. Crystal, because it can be very complex. We're talking today about obstructive sleep apnea.
The most common form.
Most common by far, and we're going to get into what that is. Central sleep apnea it's an issue in the brain, the part of the brain that's regulating your breath. It gets mixed up because of acid level. It's just weird. It's complicated, and you can have hypoxic events.
Yes, and then the obstructive is just as it says. There is a physical obstruction.
Yeah, and we'll talk about what that is, but it's basically everything right here. So we could talk about that.
Obstructing the trachea, that's going to the lungs.
It squishes it. That's why you can't breathe.
Oh,
so now the way we classify obstructive sleep apnea, there's mild, which is 5 to 15 of these hypoxic moments in an hour.
Yes.
That's mild. There's moderate, 15 to 30, and severe is over 30 of these hypoxic events per hour. And if you sleep 7 hours, that's 21 of these events.
Holy moly.
In one night of sleep. And it happens every night for years.
So then the next question is, why is it dangerous? I think that's self-explanatory.
Yeah,
you're not breathing.
You're not making energy. You can't. That's even when you're sleeping. You need all that stuff.
The brain is still very active when you're sleeping.
It is. Well, the heart is still pumping.
Oh yes, that's true as well.
I mean, the heart's struggling in this as well, right? So there's obviously a lot of risk factors of hypoxia. And so we have a laundry list here.
It is literally a laundry list. It goes over 2 pages.
Yeah, and we're not going to go through all these, but everything from autoimmune disorders, it raises risk of cancer and obviously cardiovascular disease, cognitive dysfunction, even type 2 diabetes.
And gout.
Gout
I was
goes
surprised
up.
to see that on the list.
High blood pressure is a big one, right? It could cause complications in pregnancy, glaucoma, Parkinson's, polycystic ovarian disease,
Hypothyroidism, chronic kidney disease.
kidney stone. Come on now.
And then worse, okay, well, not saying that it's worse, but just overall daytime sleepiness. So now cognitively, you're just not able to function at work. You're not able. People fall asleep driving.
Well, you're not sleeping. You're kind of exercising, and now you got to get up and do things. It makes it tough.
Right.
So no wonder you're like, why am I so fatigued?
Yeah.
This is why. This could be a very big reason. Matter of fact, if you've never been diagnosed with this, remember there's millions of people don't even know, and you're dealing with daytime stuff like that, you might want to think sleep apnea.
Yes.
Because people always jumped in, well, let's talk about what causes fatigue. And a lot of doctors they don't even put sleep apnea on the list.
Well, I think let's reverse it. Let's look at the prevalence of cardiovascular disease in our society, type 2 diabetes. Your doctor should have a conversation with you about sleep first and foremost.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
So I think sometimes we're too busy trying to treat
Yeah. That's a good
treat
point.
one thing, and if we treat the root cause, then you can manage those other things better.
So we mentioned a little bit with obstructive sleep apnea. It's basically all this stuff that gets in the way, right? What are
Tonsils, adenoids,
Yeah.
maybe your tongue is a little too large.
All of that especially when you're laying on your back,
And then you relax.
and it all just kind of falls back and relaxes, and you block up the air tube, and that's when you have. And then you realize you got to breathe, and that's that loud, explosive breath. It's not really even snoring. It's gasping for air sound. But again, remember, it's defined by the hypoxia, not the sound.
Yeah. So, and even just a larger throat. And of course, we'll talk about some of the others. Sleeping on your back,
Sleep on your
of
back.
course.
Overweight,
Obese, nasal congestion, like a deviated septum as well.
Yeah, you might even have some people, I could even see if you have severe allergies and it's a seasonal allergy thing and it's your season for allergies, you might be a little bit more aware of that might be your time. But then during your non-allergy seasons, maybe you're okay.
Yeah.
That can happen as well. So here we have now, we know the danger. We know what it is, what's causing and the dangers. Here's now symptoms that go along. These are the things we want you to be aware of.
Yes, to keep in your mind and say, hey, I'm dealing with this, and this.
Well, I have daytime sleepiness a lot. Not sleep. I'm really fatigued.
And it's the thing where you sit down to watch a movie, you always fall asleep.
Yeah, because you need rest, right? Yeah, that's a good point. So if you have that and it's coupled with morning headaches, frequent nighttime waking. A lot of people they don't realize it was the hypoxia part. They're out, but when they explode up, they wake themselves up.
Yes.
Right, and you definitely wake up your partner.
Well, they're the ones that's gonna.
They're the ones that make you go to the doctor most of the time.
Yes.
A lot of dry mouths.
So you wake up, dry mouth, sore throat.
You can't concentrate during the day. Your mood's just off. And even sexual dysfunction like libido can all be things to keep a mind of. So, I want to move. So how is it actually diagnosed? This is a big question too, because everything we just said all may point to sleep apnea, but let's be honest, morning headaches can be a bunch of stuff. Right.
Well, that's true.
So you have to. They're not necessarily very specific for sleep apnea. In medicine, we call them. They're sensitive for the diagnosis, but they're not specific. So you still have to go get a diagnosis.
Yes.
What do you think? How's that going to happen?
A sleep study.
Sleep study. Very simple.
Yes. Yeah. Very, very simple. Now, there is an algorithm. We didn't put it on here that your doctor will sometimes kind of do like the checkbox, kind of those sensitivity markers. And they will talk to your partner, and if they're at the appointment with you, and then they can describe what you're experiencing when you're sleeping. Yeah. But then it's the sleep study, and this can be done in an office or at home.
Yeah, it's nice. Now, I know in the old days it was all in the offices. They actually had sleep clinics.
Yeah.
And when you'd see pictures of what it looked like to go through this, you're like, how does anybody fall asleep?
How do you even sleep, right?
First of all, you're in a weird environment.
Yeah.
You got people literally watching you. And you got all this
That's
stuff
not
on
awkward.
you. I mean, I have to be in my bed with my blankie and my pillow.
Blankie?
Yes.
And your Charlie.
And my Charlie.
That's his dog.
So now, thank you. So now, there's better, easier ways to do it. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it's really collecting your oxygen percents, how much you're breathing, those hypoxic events, and that's what's really going to give you the diagnosis. Yeah. Let's move on now to, okay, so you think you may have this. Your spouse is like, you definitely have this. Maybe you haven't seen the doctor yet. There's still some maybe lifestyle things you can do to help a little bit.
Right.
You're not going to cure it, right? But these are things that can prevent so many episodes and stuff like that. So let's get into this. The first one, let's talk about sleep hygiene.
So don't sleep on your back. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And if you need to sleep kind of propped up on some pillows a little bit, definitely. If you're a back sleeper, not flat on your back.
Because remember, that's when it relaxes, it all just falls back. So if you prop up a little bit even, that just helps to take some of the pressure off of the trachea, which is the windpipe. Basically, one of our specialists that worked with us, I don't know where she saw this from, or she tried it or whatever it was. She said you can tape a tennis ball
to your back.
So that way, if you start on your slide, you want to roll, because if you're a back sleeper, you might naturally move to that, right? So if you have like an obstruction there,
so you put the tennis ball, you're on your side, and then when you're sleeping, you kind of roll on your back. You're like,
what is
now
that?
that'll wake you up too.
Yeah, well, but at least it tells you to get back over on the other side.
Yes.
And there's actually, I've seen online and stuff, special pillows that can help to keep you on your side and stuff like that. So and that's the sleep hygiene. Stay off your back, right? And then the way this is going to be treated, if you really need to at the end of the day, it's going to be the CPAP. Continuous airway pressure is basically what this is. It's forcing the oxygen down. That pressure, it can outweigh the pressure of the tissue, so it keeps it open, so you're not having the hypoxic events.
Yes.
That's what CPAP is. Now, if you close your eyes, Dr. Crystal, go ahead.
Okay.
Now I'm going to count to 10. No, I'm just kidding. Close your eyes. Picture, just like first thing that comes to your mind, picture somebody wearing CPAP. What do you see?
Oh, like the big thing, the big machine to the side making the noise.
That's what it sounds like.
That's what I see.
Yeah. Well, that's the old CPAP.
Old school?
Old school. It's just, I guess the point I'm trying to make is don't be scared off so much. I know there's even a lot of commercials talking about how bad it is, promoting some other ways.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, CPAP is the gold standard. And what does that mean? It's the best form of treatment we have.
I agree, and I watched a lecture on this last week, and the researchers said that you really have to go into it with a positive attitude as well. There's this idea that they really don't work or people aren't compliant, and that's a myth, that people use them because when you use it and you wake up that next morning and you feel
better, yeah.
I have so much energy. I don't have headaches. People will continue, but then you also have to know if the version that you have is not right for you.
There's other ones to try.
Others.
Yeah, that was my point. That there's nasal ones now. There's still maybe just the mask itself is not fitting correctly. So there may be a trial and error kind of approach to finding that right CPAP and what you do. So I have personal experience. My sister went through this, and I know the first machine she got, she just couldn't do it. It was just too cumbersome.
Yeah.
So then they tried another one, but it took 3 or 4 different masks, different ways to keep the mask on. And once she found the the one she really liked.
Yes.
She was compliant. She still continues to use it, and she's never slept better in years.
And that sounds like the typical experience.
Yeah. So just stick with it.
Yes.
Know you can mix match stuff. You know, it's not like the first thing they give you, that's it. You got to make that work. No, you can play around.
Oh, for sure. I think my dad's on machine number 5.
You see? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So now there are other devices out there that are worth talking about, but they're not the gold standard, right? You got to keep that in mind. There's these nasal kind of positive airway pressure ones. I think those are pretty good. You know, if you just try different masks and they're just not working, you can go to the nasal. It's not gonna. The problem with nasal, Dr. Crystal, when it pushes that oxygen through, it's not as high a pressure as it is with the mask.
Because maybe the smaller
It's just smaller
passages.
It's just it's a smaller tube and stuff, and you kind of, these nasal ones have to go pretty deep, because if they don't, they get clogged up. So they're kind of deep. They don't give as much pressure, and so I would try the masks first.
Yes. Okay.
And then you can go. There's the one that I think is there's oral negative pressure therapy. I'm not really familiar with that. I don't think that's even really certified yet. And there's some other ones here, but I think try the mask, go with that good old-fashioned one, see what fits, and your last choice on this would be the nasal if it didn't work.
Yeah.
Now, there's surgical.
Yeah, so minimally invasive
Yep.
and invasive surgeries that individuals can have. And that's really when all else fails, is surgery.
Yeah, I told you the story. I've had large adenoids my whole life. They should have been removed when I was a child, because that's the best time to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and so, but it's even been suggested for me as an adult, you may want to get rid of that, because as I get older, I'm a male. There's a good chance I could be dealing with sleep apnea, right? But the surgery, I'm just letting people know, if it is an option, but it's a big surgery. It's an invasive surgery for adults to remove adenoid tissue.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you have to do what you have to do, Dr. Mike,
absolutely.
in order to breathe.
100%. That's why it's an option. But it's not before the CPAPs. Because imagine if I have large adenoids, Dr. Crystal, and I get a CPAP machine one day that works perfectly fine and I'm good with it, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm not going to worry about the surgery. Okay. Now, what's interesting is what's next.
Oh.
The minimally invasive.
That's on a different page. I already turned the page.
Minimally invasive. These are these stimulators now.
Yes, these nerve stimulation. And so it's an outpatient procedure, and they implant a device into the chest, which delivers an impulse that causes the tongue to advance during inhalation.
To come forward, yeah. So it's removing, it's just kind of, I think it's just helping to bring things forward.
Instead
not
of the
back.
relaxation, because that's when
right.
you think about you're sleeping and everything's relaxed and the tongue kind of relaxes, and then you have kind of the blockage of that, of your airway.
I think this is a very interesting innovation. I don't know if it's there yet. I don't think it's as good as good old-fashioned sleep apnea with decreasing those hypoxic events. I think more research is needed, but I think it's very interesting, and I hope they do more research on this.
So ask your doctor about it.
Yeah, for sure. Now, one of the things we needed to mention, because with sleep apnea, remember, who's most likely to get this? What gender has the highest?
Men.
Men, right? And older men, right?
Yes.
Well, guess what's happening in older men as well? Testosterone's low. All of that happening is a mix for a lot of good sleep apnea.
Yes, and so there is an association, and the question is, what comes first, the sleep apnea or the low testosterone?
I don't know if we know that.
We don't know that.
Yeah,
but we do know that there's an association between low testosterone and obstructive sleep apnea in men. So if you do have, let's say this, if you have low testosterone, consider getting a sleep study and test it for sleep apnea.
For sure.
Right?
And go ahead and get some testosterone. I wanted you to have better
Yes.
testosterone anyways.
Right.
And here's what happens is if you have sleep apnea and you start testosterone therapy, it might worsen a little bit at the beginning. That has been well documented. But then down the line, there are a lot of men that report sleeping better once they start building up their levels to a nice steady state of testosterone at a higher optimal level. So it's just we don't really know how it's all working, but definitely older men, sleep apnea, low testosterone, those are two big things you got to look at.
Just all interrelated.
Yeah, interrelated for sure. Okay, so let's go on now to lifestyle stuff. Why don't you run us through some of this stuff? Because you're better at lifestyle than me.
Right. So the first thing is we do
didn't
know
catch
that it's associated with being overweight or obese. So lifestyle is weight management. That's one strategy. And so your standard recommendations, the things that we talk about really on every show, the Mediterranean diet, get out and walk. Simple.
Walking's great. Get out and walk.
Yes, after your meals, that helps to control blood sugar, get you some fresh air. And so you just also have to keep in mind that alcohol intake is a problem.
Yeah.
It depresses the central nervous system and causes kind of weakness in the muscular structures in the throat.
Yeah, so it's just going to get clogged more.
Right.
Yeah, so keep that in mind.
So, a lot of people like to have a glass of wine, a beer before bed. Maybe that's making your sleep apnea worse.
Could be making it worse, so try a night or two without it and see if it helps.
Yes.
Right? Let's move into, now, again, there's really when it comes to nutrient add-ins, it's not like we have this Amazon herb that cures.
It's going to cure your,
sleep apnea.
stimulate the throat.
Yeah, we don't have that. But we do have nutrients that are simply good for you in terms of oxygenation, energy, stuff like that. And so we want to offer those to you. Right off the top is CoQ10.
We love CoQ10.
Foundational.
And there's a combination of CoQ10, SOD, one of your body's internal antioxidants, that's also found in melon, vitamin C and vitamin E, shown in a study to improve respiratory responses to brief periods of low oxygen in people with sleep apnea.
Yeah, so it's not curing it, but it's helping out with that oxygen level, right? Because that's something they measure too in the sleep study. It's not just counting how long you're not breathing. It's what happens to that O2 level. You put that thing at your doctor's on your thumb or your finger.
Yes.
Yeah, it starts to drop. And some people, it gets down into the 80s, and you're like, oh, jeez, that's low.
Yeah.
So these kind of things maybe help to keep it from going too low, right? That'd be great.
CoQ10.
Vitamin D.
And so we have an association. Low vitamin D has been found in people with obstructive sleep apnea.
So take it. And matter of fact, everyone.
It's a foundation nutrient.
Come on. Vitamin D receptors on every single cell line in your body. Just take it. But again, if you're dealing with this, those oxygenation nutrients, some vitamin D, all of this can help. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow, this is great information. We have a sleep apnea protocol. This is done by Life Extension. If you're not familiar with Life Extension protocols, although you should be because we promote them a lot.
We do. You should check this one out.
Yeah, check this out. The protocols they're detailed. They are heavily referenced. It's all up to date. Just really fantastic. And what's nice about it with Life Extension, when you review this protocol, if you have any questions, you can call the wellness specialist. These are experts that can run you through that protocol, talk to you about any section you want to talk about. That's at lifeextension.com/apnea. APNEA. It's right there on your screen. Lifeextension.com/apnea. And guess what they should do when they're at Life Extension?
Shop around.
Shop around and use the discount code
LE Live
for 10% off, $50 or more plus free shipping and handling. That's all over at lifeextension.com. We go live every Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern time. Got a new show coming up.
Real Wellness.
Yeah, Real Wellness. It's going to be a new look, a new feel, and we're really excited about it. That's going to start soon. Not quite yet, but we're just teasing it up. For now, it's live every Wednesday, 12 noon Eastern time. I'm Dr. Mike. That's
Dr. Crystal.
We'll see you next time.